So we get sucked in and we fall in love. Now, what happens when you risk falling in love, right? You're getting ready for the potential. You might get hurt. Plan on that. Know that that's going to happen. I don't care if it's you didn't get the promotion you thought you were going to get. You didn't get transferred like you thought you were going to. You've had a 3-month proposal. You couldn't wait to share, couldn't wait to close, and the customer says, no, we're not going with you. That's hurt. That's frustration, and that causes a realignment. But we get comfortable. We get comfortable. I thought I was going to retire with this company. I never could have imagined in all of my crazy thoughts that I'd be sitting here telling this story on July 31st at 10:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That Bev on the Bev D show was telling you she was permanently unemployed through no fault of her own. I went through a phase where I had to say, did I not work hard enough? Did I not love hard enough? I had to get through that. They had to do a different strategy. They had to redo things. They had to replan from COVID-19, and it did not include me. This virus not only makes some people sick, some of them, they get it and they're not sick. A whole big percentage don't get sick from it. But it also costs lives. And these poor people, and if you're ever feeling bad or down and out, you can think about the people that have to die alone. The old people in the nursing homes that just don't understand. They didn't understand in January. They had something, maybe there are early signs of dementia or what have you. They didn't know then what was going on around them. But they counted on and knew that at 4 o'clock every day their son or daughter or grandchildren were going to come and see them. And now, March? No, you're not. Now all of a sudden you're dying alone, you're laying alone, you're in the hospital, you're sick. And you can't die with your family surrounding you. That is tough stuff. So while this virus has made people sick or put them in the hospital or killed them, it's also killed the life and livelihood of millions and millions of people. It's wrecked, totally ruined children's lives from school, sports, livelihood. When you have a baby, you think you're going to raise them a certain way. You have a little boy, little girl. You want him to be involved. You want him to, if you're lucky and you can afford to have your kid in sports, you want to, keep them involved, teach them social skills, how to win, how to lose. And then I think about the poor kids. Everybody's like, just do it online. Just do it online. I can't help but think about the kids that do not have a computer. They don't have online. Libraries are closed. You can't go use those computers for free anymore. So we have children's hearts and minds dying because of this virus. Never get too comfortable. So how do I do that? How do I always prepare? Well, here's the first thing. Know your insides and outs. Prepare for the worst. Don't live that way. Prepare that way. Like you put in your plans. Okay, we want to sell $500,000 in, third quarter. Well, plan on, if this happens to me, this is what we will do next. So know who you are. And that sounds easy. It's not. It takes practice, But you have to be the Marine that is intentionally putting on, his uniform, his protective gear, lassoing a bag of grenades and a gun and all that, because he knows, or she knows, when they go out there to battle, there's a really good chance they're going to die. Can you imagine that's your job? You're doing that on purpose. Our police officers, every morning, every night, that's your job, to prepare to die. That's a really big deal. We had no idea that something would come in front of the world that presented us with death, loss of loved ones, and loss of livelihood. We had no idea. And there's a really big percentage of people that aren't making it through this. They're not doing too good. They're buried with the bills. They're buried with the pressure of how to educate their children. Everybody lighthearted, happy, tossing themselves around in commercials on TV. We all live in our fantastic bubbles. There is a lot of frustration and death of livelihood out there. It's sickening. It is repulsive if you give your moment to think about the people you have no idea about. Social distancing. How can you social distance if you're laying on top of each other in some of these apartment buildings and such? You have no idea how you're going to get food. You have no idea how you're going to take care of your sick child. And I'm talking about universally. You think about these things and you just expand and break that little bubble around you. And you start thinking about what's really going on out in the world. You better start suiting up your internal armor. You better start working out. You better start doing those push-ups. You better start working out and to become a strong warrior, because this isn't going away anytime soon. So prepare for the worst, but live your best. In other words, continue to make, your work family. If you're at work, give 100% of your 200%. And over there in the corner, on a shelf, is the other 100%. And never forget and nurture those talents. I don't know, it's going to sound so corny, but if you're a painter, if you're a writer, if you sing, in your current position, whatever line of work you're in, expand and grow and prepare and study for the current job you're in, because you never know. You never know when, on purpose, the universe or God, whatever your faith is, they could be preparing you. You don't know it, but they're preparing you to do something else. So just like when women and men, they're expecting a baby and they pack that bag to get ready to go to the hospital, so that the woman has all that she might need to keep her comfortable when she's at the hospital. Have that virtual bag of luggage packed. Be prepared. Take care of you and your future broken heart. Don't be afraid, if you're in your particular industry, to allow yourself to learn and become an expert in that field. for the company you work for yourself, for future companies. And please, by doing that, you would be letting me know you're not getting too comfortable. And finally, sometimes we find that change, we don't see it that way. Change can hurt, break hearts, broken relationships, divorce, a loss of a job, getting a job, finding out it's not what you thought, being afraid to leave because you just started a job. Sometimes, when all the smoke clears and the anger and the tears or whatever it might be have subsided, sometimes we find that change means freedom to be you. Breaking the conformity of maybe what someone else had made you into. Maybe that is your work and that you are in this mold that they have you in. And that's great and that's wonderful. And that's productive and kind and nurturing, and you're making a living. I don't want you guys to misunderstand any of this for a moment. But never be afraid to make sure that maybe it's at 4 o'clock when you leave, or 5 or 6, to flip that switch and be you. And it sounds corny, and it sounds cliche, and it sounds odd and weird, and what do you know what you're talking about? You'll know. You'll know. You'll know that spark. You'll know when that hits. And you'll be like, that's what Bev was talking about. So listen, I speak from experience. I speak from a broken heart. But I was prepared. And part of that preparation is allowing yourself to be hurt. You gotta cry, you gotta get mad, you gotta figure it out. But go open that bag of luggage. Were you prepared for the trip? This is Bev, the Bev D Show. It's July 31st, 11:06. I tried not to take up too much of your time. If you're ever wondering if somebody loves you, I do. And hey, by the way, courage, never forget this, is not when, we're afraid. We've got this whole fear going on of trying something new or different. Courage is when you do it anyway. Have a great day. Bye.